Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hello, everyone. This is Gary Wilson. Welcome to this version of Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. So if you're professional in your field, chiropractor, dentist, engineer, teacher, it's all good. And we like working with you because the way you think is the way you need to think to be successful at real estate investing. It's not a gimmick. It's not a fad. It's not a hobby. It's a business. And when you feel, think, speak, and act like a business, I promise you, you're going to be way more successful. So just a couple of things here. If you want to be part of the community we've been developing over the last 4 years, just go to myinvestorservices.com. You'll see where you can link into it. I think you get like a free month of exposure to everything that's on there. There's a community map where you network with people all over the U.S. and Canada. Tools like cash buyers reports, private lenders reports, inventory people selling, as well as all the tools and strategies and techniques that you need to be successful. It's all there. And we're all in the same group, so we communicate and get along quite well. We also do care about our communities. We're not looking to buy the real cheap, crappy stuff. Sorry, we're buying decent housing. We want to provide decent housing for people, and that's we want to improve the communities that we're in. So it's more of an ethical way to invest. Also, make sure if you're listening to this, you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. It's on iHeartTunes and Apple, Apple Radio, I guess. Any case, lots of opportunity here. We're glad to have you on board. What I want to do today is introduce you to a friend of mine, Dustin Mathews. I've known him since that would have been 2014, May of 2014. So it's going on 5 years. And I learned a lot from Dustin. He's got a great program going on called WealthFit. And the reason I want to show this to you is because you do have to play offense. You got to generate revenue, but you also got to play defense and know what to do with it. You got to have one eye on the income, one eye on the expense. And I'm not saying what Dustin does is on the expense side. It's on the management side. How do you be responsible with what God gives you in the way of wealth and income? So without further ado, let me introduce Dustin. Dustin, welcome aboard, man. I'm so glad you're doing this. It's good to see you again.
Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here today.
All right. Well, if you wouldn't mind, let's just want to basically have a good old-fashioned conversation. And most people are probably wondering right now, well, who's Dustin? So if you could just fill it in a little bit. Now, you're an awesome dude. You got a great family going, and I think people would appreciate you more if they knew a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. I like to say I'm a student of the game, really just learning from everything that there is to learn from in life. But the professional cred, if folks are interested, I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and the last venture that I did was a company that I met Gary at called Speaking Empire, training people how to present, how to use media just like this. And I woke up one day and I wasn't happy anymore. As crazy as it is, something that I founded was building, putting all my effort into. And I woke up one day and I was very frustrated and didn't know what to do and thought I couldn't leave. And essentially, long story short, I ended up leaving. I had my partners buy me out and didn't know what I was going to do with my life and was actually quite lost. And it was really a dark and depressing moment because my ego was attached to that business. And so out of that, my deepest, darkest valleys, I was able to call folks up and see what was going on in the world. And that's when I discovered WealthFit. It's a new venture. And so really for me, I've been an entrepreneur. I have a marketing background. And what I'm most passionate about now is wealth creation. And here's why. In all the years that I've been doing entrepreneurship, I did what everyone tells us to do, which is hustle and grind and put everything into the business. And I wish I had done both. Do that because you have to do that and you can work smarter for sure. However, what I lacked was investing and putting my money to work for me. Now, I did some small investments here and there, but what I really focused on was investing in my business and just doing everything. And I want to tell you that, listen, you may get that magical unicorn exit one day where someone buys it for 3 to 10 times your business, but oftentimes many people don't. And so really my passion and excitement is showing people, how do you do that? How do you go out and do real estate investing, but also do stocks or do a business or do info marketing, like you do here, or do coaching like you do here. And so really that's what I'm up to in the world. And that's who I am.
Well, I appreciate that. And by the way, the reason I like this match here is because a lot of the folks that I'm speaking to, a lot of them own their own business or they own their own practice if they're, if they're a chiropractor, dentist, physician, so forth.
Yeah.
And the reality is all the skills you develop are very applicable. They're very transferable to almost anybody that has a business. There's a core set of fundamentals that are applicable across the spectrum of industry. So, so if you could maybe dive a little bit deeper in what it is you're doing, because I'm just when you told me about this, man, I was intrigued and looked into it, of course, and I'm just that's why I wanted you to be on here. So give people a little more flavor about what they if they work with you, what can they expect, and learn from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's no working with me per se. It's working with the platform that we're building. So if you've heard of a Linda or a Udemy or a masterclass, essentially that's what we are. We're a platform of wealth creation courses. So we believe, Gary, there's an opportunity in the marketplace where no one's really sharing in one place how to manage your money better, then how to put that to work for you, then how to start a side hustle or a micro business, as we call it, and then how to, get into life insurance and use that as an investment vehicle. So that's what we're building here is really how do you manage the money that you're making better? And then how do you live within your means, but also at the same time expand your means, because we believe that there's a lot of abundance to be had there. So essentially, we're a place where you can learn all the different ways of creating wealth in your business or for you personally through investments.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, and it does all tie together. Like I like to think of a wagon wheel. It has a center and it has spokes that go out. Each of those spokes could be a different sort of a line of business or different set of activities, but all related. So if if you're an investor in real estate in the middle, you could also get your realtor's license, and a lot of people get their realtor's license, also get a lender's license, or get a insurance license, or get I think it's called the C7, or I forget what it is, to be able to sell stocks, bonds, and mutual funds.
Yep.
But the fact is if you generate revenue from rentals, you should put that into other vehicles unrelated, so you're diversified. And the discipline of looking at a financial statement is applicable across whether you're looking at a business or just being part of a mutual fund or buying a piece of real estate. Looking at the financial statement, those skills are very transferable. So if you're already an investor, why not branch out and spread your eggs across multiple baskets? And I know one of our other friends does the same thing. He really is into stocks, but he also invests in real estate, which is neat because a lot of guys I found, Dustin, over my last 33 years of investing is they either focus on in real estate or they focus on the stock market. And they would actually talk about each other like, oh, you don't want to do real estate because the stocks and this and that. And the guy investing in real estate would say, well, I don't really trust the stock market. So it was been rare to find people like us who realize it all works, once you learn how to do it. And so you provide that platform to be able to teach people how to do that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the world's wealthiest people, they're diversified in all different asset classes. And so I'm all for being excited about one, but and maybe that's your bread and butter. And that's the thing that you love to do. And you'd work if no one was paying you, but it's smart just to look at the other asset classes so that, should something happen in that market, you've got other things going on. Plus it makes you feel better. And what's interesting, Gary, too, is you can often transfer. So like, as an example, we talk about this thing called the Wealth Accelerator account. And so this is something that you use in conjunction with real estate investing or in conjunction with your business, kind of like what Jeff Bezos did in the early years was leverage this idea of a Wealth Accelerator account. Some people call this life insurance to create wealth in personal life or your business life.
Right. All right. Now, if you could do me a favor, I've known you for quite a while now. And if you think about when we first met, we're wrapping up the last recession and everybody's starting to feeling pretty good. But there's a lot of people who were sitting on the sidelines, just fear. Fear was getting the best of them. So if you could do me a favor, talk a little bit about timing, like the time frame, because I know you started your business or your prior business earlier before the recession, and then it got real big during. It was kind of neat how it grew. My business grew too during the recession. It's like, well, everybody else is running in fear, and I just kept my nose to the grindstone and kept hustling. But talk a little bit about timing and time frame, like historically, what that's meant to you, and particularly right now with what you're doing, because I think we're on the cusp of something else. I don't know what the something else is. I just look at all the numbers. I'm thinking, usually this indicates a shift is coming, a change is coming,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when it comes to business, there's countless stories of businesses that were started in the Depression or in a recession. And, if you just keep your passion and you keep grinding and doing the thing that you can do, you can build that business. And so timing for me, you should not, if you have this idea, you should not sit on the sidelines. Now, that doesn't mean, I should do my disclaimer here, that doesn't mean that you should take your whole life savings and now plunk it into the business. You really ought to start, if we're talking entrepreneurship here, you ought to start by going out and selling it, going out and getting marketplace feedback from it, and not placing large bets in that if you don't feel comfortable with it. Now, when it comes to investing, for sure, it is wise to look at your marketplace, look at the trends. And if you're moving large amounts of capital into an investment, you want to use all that information to be making wise decisions. Now, there's that famous saying by Warren Buffett, oftentimes you want to do what other people aren't doing. So when everyone's in real estate, you should be in something else because there's hysteria over here. And so there is no sitting on the sidelines. You really, yes, you may pull your money back and keep it close to the vest, but there is other things that you can be doing to growing your money, growing your investments. And so, at the end of the day, you ought not be fearful. You should go get education. We're big on that. Go get education, talk to people, get a coach, and then start making and learning from real world experience. The worst thing I think you can do is just sit on the sidelines and do nothing. Go get educated in other things that you might move on, in the next cycle.
Yeah, I agree. I tell you, I have a philosophy when I teach. I teach class. In fact, I'm teaching a class today later this afternoon in Chula Vista. And one of the things I always tell people is, look, fear is just a natural part of the human experience. We just have to face it head on. And I like, one of my favorite sayings is the best way to get past something is to go through it,
Yeah.
And the way you can go through it is this: three things: education plus information plus action. And you start with education, get the right education from the right people. And what's interesting, it'll show you how to get and use the right information. Kind of neat how that works, right? Which puts you in control, reduces risk. And the only thing you got to do next is take action. And that's where the mentorship comes in, the coaching and the training. And I love masterminds. I'm part of 3 or 4 masterminds myself, and I run one myself. And we just did one this week, and it's amazing the synergy that occurs. And somebody can be talking about something in their industry, you might be thinking completely unrelated. And all of a sudden they say one thing, and boom, that's the thing you needed to hear that solves a problem or opens up a world of marketing for you to get your product out in the marketplace. So don't be an island. And I don't know anybody I've ever met. And I've met some pretty awesome people: Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Herjavec, met some great people. And every one of them to a T will say, they always are crediting the people around them. Well, they're saying, I'm lucky I got the best people working with me, and just surround yourself with like-minded people who are ambitious, who have that drive to succeed. And I call it the entrepreneurial gene. It's just something about entrepreneurs is it's things could happen, and we'll wake up the next day and say, okay, next. We'll just keep on plugging away, man. Find people like that. I promise you'll go through obstacles, get past them, go around them, and keep moving forward with your plan for success. But it all comes back to the education plus information plus action, So, hey, if you don't mind, I'll talk a little bit about where I know you've just shifted from one coast to the other. And if you found, and I know me, I travel constantly. I've been all over the U.S. and Canada, literally over 600 cities and towns in the last 4 years. So I kind of know the answer, but I want everybody to hear from you too, as far as geography and differences. And there could be some unique coincidences that are sort of unique to an area, but overall there's some fundamentals that really you can apply anywhere. But what have you found there as far as the where you've been and what you've applied and any differences,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been all over the world. With my previous company, we went to Amsterdam. We were in St. Petersburg and Moscow, Russia. We were in London, and all throughout the U.S. And so, if you've got that passion and you've got that drive, really you have the opportunity to be anywhere you want. I think the fallacy, Gary, is a lot of people think that they can just do it all virtually. And at the end of the day, you have to do this. You have to engage. You have to interact. And, yes, you can do it over the phone. You can use these tools. But the biggest thing is, we're in the people business. And so whether you're selling to that person or maybe finding a joint venture partner. And so it doesn't matter where you are. Now, for me, what I've done is I've come to California. So I used to live in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida. I moved out here for a specific opportunity. So I think there are things that you can do to put yourself in an environment. So if you want to be in the SaaS startup world, going to Silicon Valley is the Mecca. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be in Lansing, Michigan, right? Or wherever, Norfolk, Virginia, and be a part of an amazing startup. But if you want to increase your odds, if you want to be put into that environment where you're naturally sort of drawn and you bounce into people that have these conversations, you want to increase the odds, you put yourself in that environment. So for me, I have put myself in San Diego. We're close to LA, which with what we're doing is we're getting athletes, celebrities, and influencers involved. So to be close to LA, to get them to come to San Diego makes sense. Our main headquarters, Gary, is in Hawaii. However, I'm not in Hawaii on the beach. I'm here in San Diego because that's maybe a little too far for me to grow WealthFit from what we are. But we have an amazing team, just like you said. We have an amazing team in Hawaii that's doing the tech, that's doing marketing, all that stuff. They could be in, Uzbekistan, because that stuff is more coding. That stuff can be done online, but you need to go out there and, hit the streets. And that's what I'm doing here in San Diego.
Yeah. Gary Wilson here. I just wanted to let you guys know, remind you that we do have our very next 3-day event coming up April 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Anaheim Marriott, right outside the gates of world famous Disneyland, located at 700 West Convention Way, of course, in Anaheim, zip code 92082. Okay. You can go to myinvestorservices.com, look for the information on the event. Also, you can contact us, support at myinvestmentservices.com, or call 1-800-931-2605. So this is for you. Whether you're a chiropractor, dentist, teacher, fireman, policeman, pilot, military, engineer, this is designed to bring you together to talk about investing the right way. So what this is not the no money down owner financing stuff. Okay, I'll show you how to invest if you don't have a lot of cash right now or no cash. Okay, we just do it differently. We don't put you at risk by doing hard money loans, borrowing against other people at 10, 12, 15% with lots of points that chew up all your equity and cash flow. We actually show you how to leverage what you've already got and borrow against yourself. You probably have more than you actually realize even you have, especially if you have your own practice or your own business, okay? And by the way, the cool thing about this is you're going to meet the people you need to meet to support you. I've trained over 20,000 investors and agents around the U.S. and Canada last several years. And at the event, there'll be a lot of agents there right here in your area in Southern California that I personally train to work with us, to work with you and me on investing. These are not regular realtors. They're certified. They work specifically with us, flipping homes and buying fourplexes and stuff like that. So come and connect with them, get the tools, you get the strategies, you get everything you need, okay, so that you can succeed. So this is designed specifically for you. It's not for everybody. That's why we narrow down the target audience, just for you and others just like you. So welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing you there. Reach out, contact us, grab yourself a spot. There's some specials going on. I've got an agent right now meeting with chiropractors at the local association dinners, for example. So come on aboard, come join the community, bring your children, let them go to Disneyland on Sunday. We're done a half a day on Sunday anyways. You can join them and enjoy the rest of the day there. So God bless you. We'll see you there. Bye-bye. Well, I appreciate it. I tell you, I love the travel, and it does open up not just your vision and your wealth of knowledge on different cultures and different people, different parts of the world. The other thing too is it makes you realize, you know what, man, I can invest in real estate in New Zealand. I can invest in real estate anywhere for that matter. And particularly with real estate, when I was started this, I only invested in the area that I lived in because I could drive there in a half an hour. Thankfully, I got a mentor who opened up my horizons. He said, look, you're missing like 99.9% of the opportunities. There's all kinds of awesome areas. And now the people I teach in the mastermind I just had, they're already investing in Michigan, Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, they're just all over the place. And now we can joint venture together. So same thing with building a business is once you build a core business, and this is really critical, guys, build your core business wherever you are. No doubt about it. Make it easy on yourself. But once you've got it up and running, boy, you can franchise it. You can create a program around it and go online and help other people do this thing wherever they are. You don't have to be in Des Moines, Iowa, but you can sure help a lot of people in Des Moines, Iowa, just by using the technology that's available and sharing what you learn. Perfect example. One of my students was converting a church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's been deconsecrated. I've seen a lot of churches converted to breweries and restaurants and even some housing. She's converting it into a wedding venue. Now think about that. Where do people go and get married? In a church. Well, this church you can't run a business in a church. It's because they're nonprofit. However, it's deconsecrated, which means you can run a business out of it and you can run any business you want. And second tier businesses, funerals, and then third tiers, events, St. Patty's Day, New Year's Eve, whatever. Fourth tiers, all the local associations that have regular meetings and use our venue. She went to one event the weekend before last, a wedding planning event, got enough clients to make up 20% of her entire revenue projections for the year in one afternoon.
Wow.
We're helping her build that into we're going to help her franchise that because it's unique. I told her you got to copyright, protect everything you can right now because I think it's one of those unique ideas that just somebody finally grabbed it out of the universe and decided to do something with it, and she's in Milwaukee.
I love it.
So there's no limits. The only limits are the ones we place on ourselves, and get outside your comfort zone. The growth, the success, always happens from a position of discomfort. And what happens is the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with being uncomfortable.
Yep.
So, hey, Dustin, I know you're a pretty passionate guy, man. You got a great family and a great drive for what you're doing in your business. But tell us a little bit about the why. Like, what makes you tick, or what drives you to do this? What's your why behind your why? And the reason I ask this question is, I think it'll really resonate with people because sometimes they'll see a little bit of them in you, or vice versa, and think, "Wow, that's what I was thinking."
Yeah.
And it gets them out of the bleachers, down on the field, and swinging the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I sort of hinted at it a little bit is that, I know a lot of folks listening or watching into this are business owners or out there and have their own little thing that generates money. And so I had that too. And along the way, I didn't leverage like I should have, which would have made life a little bit easier and would have set me and my family up along the way. And so as you build, you should be doing wise things with your money, investing and putting it in other vehicles outside the thing that you're building. Like you said, it's an abundant world. It's an and world. Do both. And so here's the other reason why is here's what I found. People don't talk about money a lot, at least in my family. And I've asked a lot of other people, they don't talk about wealth. And, if you look at it, Gary, teachers in school, we can't expect them to teach us about wealth. They make $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Now, I'm not knocking. I think they're great people and we need them. It's mission critical. But if you want to be a millionaire or if you want to grow a business, probably not the best teacher. The other challenge, naturally, people go to financial advisors. Well, the challenge with that is a financial advisor generally is going to talk about the things that they get compensated on. And it's not that they're bad products. It's like, is a financial planner going to go tell you do real estate? If you have one, then that may be the one to actually hang on to. But oftentimes they're going to steer you that way. And again, it's not that they're bad people. It's just that that's how the system is. And then finally, Gary, I know you're a big student in education. You can go out there and read information, but unless you get it from the right source, right? And you definitely can't get it from the mainstream media. You see the talking heads out there, right. They're selling sponsorship, they're selling advertising. So oftentimes that information, it's traditional information. Well, do you want to have a traditional path to wealth? Probably not. You got to do things differently. And so the reason why I'm so fired up is I'm a big student of education, and I was reading things and doing things that I thought were going to set me up. and it was good information and set my foundation, but it wasn't the things that the 1% do. It wasn't what, the world's wealthiest do. And so now I want to bring that to the world via WealthFit and via our platform. And so that's my why. Is I'm excited about education. I'm excited about disrupting what's going on out there and giving it to people so that they can have the life that they want for themselves and their family.
Yeah, it's all getting outside the herd. It's like you talked about Warren Buffett before.
Yep.
When the herd goes left, we should go right. And then this weekend we talked a lot about conformity, and I said, look, so many people have fallen in that trap of conforming to what they think is normal and stuff. But I started questioning years ago. Well, like I do obviously a lot of real estate investing, but right now I don't even own my own home. And to me, it's economic because I travel so much. It didn't make sense economically to have one. But I also realized when I left my home, I don't think of it as an asset. In fact, it's not, because it's not producing income. It's taking money out of my pocket. That's not an investment. Investors should not take money out of your pocket. You should put money in your pocket. And so I'm not conforming. And people just look at me like, are you nuts? You're a real estate investor. You don't even have your own home. I said, absolutely. But now I also don't have a gas bill, electric bill, water bill, property tax, all this stuff, maintenance and repairs. And I call it living outside the matrix. And when you do that, you can look in and see how the matrix is built and see all that conformity. And boy, if we can help, and people know that it's there and they know they can break through it. They just need people to show them how to do it,
Absolutely.
But if I can ask you two more questions. One is this, so mostly the people that I work with, the either professionals or the business owners are some combination, like an engineer, professional in their field, and they run their own, say, construction business or HVAC business. So imagine somebody who owns their own business, Dustin, and they also invest in real estate. Can you think of one or two or three things you could suggest to them? And I think one of them should be to look up the company you're working with there.
Sure.
WealthFit, to get you education, but maybe a potential path for them to leverage what they're doing without creating a lot more work, but just take further advantage of what they've already got going on, because they got the entrepreneurial gene, they're business minded. And I think that applies very well to investing in real estate, but it can easily apply to other things. So hopefully I'm painting a good enough picture for you. I just want to imaginary person comes and you're sitting down having coffee with them,
Yep. Well, two things come to mind instantly. Number one, so one of the things that you can do if you are entrepreneurial and doing real estate is you can go out and look for real estate for your business. So one of the things that I did at my former venture was we went out there and actually we ended up buying a church that was deconsecrated, and we ran the business out of it. And so why is this value? Why is this interesting? Well, one, you now have an asset on your books. And when you have an asset, you can borrow against it, appreciates, or, yes, it could depreciate, as well. But when you have that asset in there, it opens you up. You can go and get bank loans off of it. Yep. And so if you're paying rent to somebody else, that is a strategy. You can for sure do that. And we did that to start the business. Then after looking of years and years of P&Ls, I said, man, we've given so much to others. We could have bought a building if we had just done this from the start. And so that can be a smart thing for you to do. Now, you may be early on in your business, but if you're doing real estate and business, you should be looking and just putting your radar out there to that possibility. Is why not buy that building? You got to pay rent anyway. Why not pay rent to yourself and pay that thing down? And you can leverage that in so many different ways to buy your next real estate deal, to get money or a loan for your business. It's incredibly powerful. So that's number one. Number two is this is kind of the Bezos model. I think he's on my brain for some reason why. And so one of the things that he smartly has done, along with so many others, is in a business, there are all these different expenses. And so the real quick example is Amazon pays for all these services. Well, what they started to do many years ago is they now leased or leveraged that and had other people. So you can sign up for Amazon Web Services if you know what that is. But basically, leveraging their infrastructure that they already built. And the funny thing is Amazon's not all that profitable. It's the ancillary, it's the other services that are provided. So how do you apply that? Well, look at Gary. So he's buying real estate himself, right? He then, has people come to him and ask him, hey, can you show me, can you talk to me? How do I do this? How do I do this smart, in a smart manner? Now he offers masterminds. He offers other programs, home study programs, digital programs. So he's taken his knowledge and leverage it in the same way that Jeff has leveraged something. He's got a resource that, oftentimes many people just let sit there. you've got that knowledge and you're profiting. How can you profit a second way? Well, let's launch a coaching, a consulting division, and you've launched that for yourself. And then another thing that could be done, and I think you're doing this, is software. And so building a software off of that, now people that can subscribe to that benefit them in growing that business. And so that would be my thing, is just be thinking of what other opportunities, what other assets are sitting right in your business. And you just need to get yourself out of the comfort zone. And, maybe it'd be weird talking to people on the phone or on a Skype. I get it. But like Gary said, the more you're outside your comfort zone, that's where you're going to grow. And that's where you're going to monetize as well.
Yeah. And I'd tell you this is, there's no better feeling like the fulfillment part. Like everybody, when I ask people, what do you want to do? That's inevitably, so I just want to make a lot of money. I get that. We're going to help you do that. But there's usually a reason why. And I try to go 2 or 3 layers deep. And what I'm getting to is this is, every now and then somebody will say, you know what, I want to be like you. Now, first of all, but don't be like me, be better than me. Number one. Number two is, if you want to teach others, you have to be willing to give of yourself, because it's not just you're giving up time and energy and knowledge, you're really giving of yourself. But the fulfillment, the return of energy is unbelievable. I mean, I'm so much happier now than I used to be when I was just making the money. Now I'm like this week, and the feedback we got and the camaraderie, but just an amazing feeling, guys. I encourage you to reach inside yourself, find out if you got that teacher gene, because it's hard to imagine, hard for me to put into words the fulfillment you get by helping others. I call it prosperity through service. Serve first, and you shall prosper as a result. So, hey, we're getting closer, Dustin. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom, like maybe like a brand new entrepreneur, somebody just got out of dental school, and aside from the mechanics, getting a property and getting the tools and all that, but something like a mindset thing, or just a belief that maybe you picked up early on and you developed on your own, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 things. One that comes to mind is chunking it out. So no matter what your goal is, maybe it's to buy that first rental property or the next one, maybe because, this is timely part of the year, maybe it's to lose some weight, maybe it's, find a relationship, whatever your goal is. I always say this, chunk it out, just do one small action a day. And what does one small action a day look like? Well, that is, come on to Gary's next show, because something he's talking about, or expert that he brings on, is talking about what you want to know about. It could be go on to Google and research. Heck, if you want to do something big, by all means, get on a plane and go to the mastermind, or go to another part of the country where there's a seminar going on. But if you just do that one small action a day, and it doesn't have to be crazy big, what'll happen is you're going to build momentum. And when you look back over the course of a year, you're going to take in 365 actions. Now, the trick is, it's oftentimes not going to take you a whole year to achieve that goal that you want. You may pivot along the way. You may meet somebody that shortcuts your time. And so it's just that consistency and chunking it out, doing one small action a day. The other thing that has helped me big time is I'm a big fan of Stoicism, a little old school. I've always loved philosophy when I was younger. I just rediscovered it. And specifically, Stoicism is this unattachment. And so in my youth, of course, I wanted to hustle and grind and achieve and win awards and make money and create wealth for myself. And I was always attached to it. And I was even attached to my last venture, which is why it hit me so hard. When I left, I was nothing, because my ego was attached to it. And so I would say, whatever you're up to in the world, keep doing it. If you can come at it unattached, if your spouse is yelling at you and doesn't understand, just be detached for that moment. Take that extra second breath, because at the end of the day, odds are you're probably not dying, and it doesn't matter. It's just we get emotional in that second. So if we can just detach, go for a walk, go meditate, whatever your thing is, go paint with your paintbrush, whatever your jam is, that'll help you. And it's helped me and served me a lot, especially in this past year.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you shared that, because that's I love the philosophy, and I had to go through my surrender moment years ago, and there's a lot of related to that, but like release, like I don't really worry so much about the result. Of course, we have goals, but the focus, if you focus on the process, like in the way you focus on the service, the result usually would take care of itself. So focus on the process, be the best you can be, provide the best service, focus on that. Yeah. And people will be attracted to the best. You don't have to sell anything. It sells itself,
Yeah.
And I like houses and cars and trucks and boats. I used to have all that crap. And I appreciate a beautiful home. My gosh, I take pictures of my live homes, but I don't have any compulsion to feel like I actually got to own it.
Right.
So it's an amazing thing. Detachment is a wonderful concept to end with, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I look forward to just seeing you again, brother. I wish I'd have known you were like literally minutes from me right now. That's unbelievable. How uncanny is that?
And it's funny how that works. I forgot to mention one thing that I think people could benefit from. So if folks are interested in the WealthFit conversation about, do real estate, do real estate, stocks, life insurance, oil and gas, if you want to get into that. If you're interested in that conversation, we are launching this platform, WealthFit, and we have a 2-hour course we're giving away for free. It's Wealth 101. So it's the foundational wealth, and a lot of you already know the real estate portion of it. However, there are some really incredibly powerful things that are coming out that people should be aware of. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to have folks get a free account that will give them access to that course, and they can check out all the other courses there and have fun with it.
Well, how can they? Because I know a lot of people are going to be interested in it, and they're all over us in the U.S. and Canada, and even some foreigners. But how can they get a hold of it? I think that's an awesome gift, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's so timely, and we're actually pre-launching this. The best way, and it's the most chaotic way for me, but I want, like you said, I'm here to serve. The best way is just going to be to drop me an email, Dustin@wealthfit.com, and I will make sure that you get an account. But if you're interested in just to poke around, see what we're up to, and get some great, incredible information on building wealth in different areas, just drop me an email. And then just all I ask is you give me some time to get back to you, but I'm happy to arrange that for your tribe, Gary.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dustin. And by the way, I can tell you for a fact, Dustin will get back to you. He's one of the great ones out there and been a mentor for me and a great service partner and always responsive. I learned a ton from him. And just remember WealthFit, guys. Just remember WealthFit. Dustin at wealthfit.com. And I think you'll be seeing more of him. We'll do some more of these down the road, Dustin. And a couple more things, guys. Just remember, if you like this, I hope that you do. Subscribe. iTunes, iHeart Music, wherever you see this, subscribe to it. And you're all welcome to go to myinvestmentservices.com. Grab what you can get. There's plenty of books out there for free, stuff you can use to learn. And if you want to be part of the community, we you have to sign up for a pretty good group. We do tend to look out for each other. We want like-minded people. A couple thousand of us so far, over 3,000. And if you got that gene, you got the entrepreneurial gene, you want to excel, do more than you're doing now, and you got that drive and ambition. That's who I look for. When I train people, it really doesn't matter to me so much what you know, where you come from. What I want to know is where you want to go, and do you have the drive to get there? Because we can get you there. With guys like Dustin, man, you can't go wrong knowing how to leverage what you're doing and apply your assets in multiple ways and generate revenue, protect yourself, and be smart about it. So in any case, hey, Dustin, once again, I thank you, man. I think I speak for everybody when we say gracias for doing this. And,
sure thing.
Yep, and I look forward to seeing you again. Anything I can do to help you too, man, you just let me know, okay?
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Be sure to go to myinvestmentservices.com to join our community and start building wealth today.